church family, we know that over the last several months, things all around us have changed dramatically, and it feels like that the church and just life in general has really slowed down. But I want to just do a quick review for you that over the last 18 months or so, we have learned how to pray together, we've repented together, we've studied forgiveness, we've been all the way through the book of Exodus, we've studied the book of James, the book of 1 Peter, we have completely restructured our order of service, and we are preparing each day, getting ready for all that God has for us as soon as we can reopen. So as we've been preparing ourselves spiritually and organizationally, I also want to show you all the things that we've been doing structurally on the building. And so I want to walk you through the story of all the repairs and restorations and those things that have been happening around the building. And it starts right up there in the balcony and in the steeple where we began our journey of redoing and upgrading the church. So early last year, we discovered significant water damage up here in the balcony. The source of that water damage was the steeple, which is just above my head. And so as we repaired the steeple from literally the top down, that repair work ended up here in the balcony. And so last year, if you had spent any time up here, the ceiling was literally starting to fall in up here. These columns over here had big blisters on them from the water damage, and the water had actually reached down into the foyer below me and was causing damage in the ceiling. So the solution to that was literally a top-down restoration from the steeple to the floor. And so we got all brand new windows in the steeple. We got a brand new top at the very peak of the steeple, and we pressure washed and painted and cleaned up all in the front of the church. So we are looking good, and everything is back in good repair. Last summer, shortly after we discovered the water damage in the sanctuary, this room that I'm standing in, the roof literally fell in. We walked in here one day during the week last summer, and the ceiling was touching my head standing in this very spot. Years ago, this used to be 4 Sunday school rooms. Those walls were knocked out and removed to make one large room for our children, but the geometry of the roof and some of the bracing on that modification could have been done better. And so we ended up doing a literally roof all the way to the ground restoration of what is now our new and improved kids' room. The geometry of the roof upstairs has been completely changed. It's got upgraded HVAC, and the repairs went all the way down to the 2 Sunday school classes below me, to the point where we actually had to pour a new footer in the crawl space to support the building from the ground up. And so we're very proud of our new kids' room, and we are looking forward to the day when we can open it for children's church and Wednesday night children's ministry. One day when our children's ministry team was up here setting up and getting ready to relaunch our children's program, Mike Rogers came to me and said, "Elliot, you're gonna wanna go see the bathroom upstairs on the 2nd floor. And this ceiling above my head had actually come down and was about to fall. We discovered through some investigation that there were 3 significant roof leaks above my head. Those have now been patched up, and the roof is functioning properly, and we'll be working on getting this ceiling patched in the coming days." About the same time that we had the issue in the bathroom with the ceiling, of course that was related to a roof leak, the ceiling in here began to show some water damage. We had another set of roof leaks in a roof transition above my head, and that has been patched and cleaned up in the last couple of days. And of course, we're working now in here to repair the water damage. I'm now standing in the attic of the church in front of the main AC unit that controls the sanctuary. Most of you have never been here, so welcome to a new perspective in our church. This air conditioning unit had some challenges a few months ago and began to overflow into the 2nd floor hallway behind the baptistry. We've now gotten those plumbing issues fixed, and everything's working properly, and the ceiling tiles are back in place in the hallway. stories in all of this renovation is God's provision. We had a church business meeting just a few weeks ago, and we celebrated as a church because we've spent a lot of money on the building, but God continues to provide and protect us financially. So because of the provision and because of what God's done, and also just because of some of the opportunity that coronavirus has presented us, the property and grounds team and the finance team decided to do an extra project that was not a have to, but it was a want to. We wanted to get our chapel up to date and cleaned up where it was looking nice. So we decided to repaint in here and do new carpet, not only in this room, but also in the Sunday school classes behind me and down the hallway into the old pastor's office of the chapel. And so this is going to be a great and exciting space for us, a very usable space, and we're looking forward to having our chapel back up to the standards of First Baptist Church Forest Park. So one of our hopes here as the leadership at First Baptist Church Forest Park is that when we look good, we feel good. Well, that's already started to happen. So once we had the chapel project started, Angie Stevens and the rest of her family, they said, we want to come and paint the office. So the Stevens family, Mike and Denise Rogers, and probably a few others have been up here painting and totally redoing our office for us. I'll tell you as a staff, that when we look good, we feel good. So a big thank you to those church volunteers who have done the work in the office for us. So as Angie was up here painting, she called me one day with a bit of a nervous tone in her voice. And she had pulled this couch back away from this wall and discovered mold behind the couch and also on the wall. Well, in doing the discovery on that, we found that we have significant roof leaks all the way down this exterior wall of the office. We also probably have mold in many of those places, and we discovered termites. Well, okay, that's a simple call to our pest control termite company. Well, that's when we discovered we didn't actually have any paid for professional pest control on site at the church. So that was another phone call, is we now have termites, rodent, and pest control at the church, and we're working to mitigate these problems. So as the termite guy was drilling his holes every 12 inches around the building, he came down and opened this door. When he opened the door, not the door, but the actual metal door frame literally fell out of this space because of water rot and several other things going on. So that was allowing water and rodents into the basement and was producing some of that wet smell that you smell when you're using the stairwells in the church. So we've now got the door fixed and patched up, and then we had one other issue down here that I'd like to show you. So we're now under the chapel, under the stage, in an AC room that's down in the same basement area that we just showed you. Both of these air conditioning units were experiencing significant leaks, and that water was running into the basement area. Our goal down here is not to make it a usable space, but simply to get it dry where we're containing the moisture and also the smell that comes up through the stairwell. Now, church family, I know what you're thinking. It seems like that story that we just told went from bad to worse. But there's a silver lining for every cloud. And let me share a couple of those silver linings with you. The first silver lining is this. Had we not stopped in 2020 because of coronavirus and all that was happening around that situation, we would have not had the opportunity or the money or the budget or the time to complete many of these projects. Another silver lining that we have is I know all of us are feeling the pain of having delayed our relaunch. Well, look at all the work that continues to happen so that when we get ready to open our doors, we make a good first impression for our community, our families, and our guests. So church family, I just wanted you to know all that's been happening behind the scenes, and that while things have slowed down in our personal lives, we here at First Baptist Church Forest Park have not slowed down at all. we've been doing a lot of the work to be ready when our relaunch comes.